Hi, I'm Cameron Brown and I'm here today with the lovely Alice Haemmerle. Alice is a master NLP trainer and welcome, Alice.
Thank you very much, Cam. Thank you.
Absolutely. Alice has been training in NLP for a very long time now. Was appointed as an NLP trainer at Australasia's largest coaching school in 2010. And what I wanted to maybe go through in this video is around NLP and what it actually is.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've trained a certain amount in NLP as well, but I've done a bit of YouTube search, and when I've searched what is NLP and what is NLP about, there's some pretty blasé answers, and I thought maybe if we could take this video just to explain what really is NLP.
Great question. So NLP, in its definition, is Neuro-linguistic programming. Okay, and I think if we were in the year we are right now, we would rename that to how to change your behavior in an instant by modeling excellence. Okay, so human behavioral accelerator, if you want to say that. Something like, but it wouldn't be called NLP anymore. But that being said, let's look at the word NLP. And neuro meaning brain, linguistic language, and programming, how we run strategies. So with all of the new information on neuroscience today and understanding how the brain has a plasticity, that plasticity is really about installing new strategies. So it's exciting because right now science and what we do have come together.
Nice.
So we're really looking at how do you find someone who has an extraordinary skill, whether it's in sales, in sports, in performing arts, in wealth creation, in how they learn, how they excel. My goodness, even how someone cooks brilliantly. We are modeling machines. That's what we do. We're born from the beginning to model, and we have mirror neurons in our brain that are actually modeling naturally. So whenever you make a movement, I'm watching that and saying, okay, and then I'm actually doing it in my mind, so for me to understand it. So innately, as human beings, we're modelers. So everything we do is from modeling someone else. When NLP says, okay, so you've modeled, are you getting the results you want to have in your life?
Or not.
Or not.
Or not, yes.
So where you are right now is who you've modeled. So the beauty of NLP is, okay, it is a science that has been able to say, okay, in order for me to get this result, I need to run a series of strategies, yeah? And if I keep running those strategies, I keep getting that result, if it's working for me, I'm going to leave it. But if I want to go to that next level of excellence, if I want to excel in some area, whether, again, it's in how we learn or any type of performance, what we need to do is find someone who's done it, who does it the way we want to do it.
Exactly how we want to do it.
How we want to do it. So therefore we can install those new strategies using NLP techniques, and there's numerous NLP techniques to accelerate that change. Rather than doing it over years or months, we can do it within minutes.
So could we maybe talk about some of the areas that we could use NLP in? So I know they're used in a huge amount of areas now, almost everywhere, if you're able to look and where they actually are. So maybe we could delve into just a little bit as to where we could use them.
Okay, so anywhere where there's peak performance. Okay, so any sports environment, performing arts, education, relationships, health, wealth creation, business, and personal development.
That's pretty much everywhere.
It is. Anywhere you want to excel. Because everything you do is from modeling someone. So anywhere where you want to improve an area of your life, you model excellence in that area using an NLP technique, and you will then install that strategy of behavior. And the goal is to get the result of the model. And until you've got the result of the model, you're not truly modeling. So that's the beauty of the techniques.
So what problems can it actually solve? Because there's a huge amount of programs that people can do out there. Why would I go to NLP for solving certain problems?
Well, okay, so within every problem is a solution. Let's just take this clearly here. The thing is that I believe strongly that our goal as a human being is to become an independent human being. I want to know that I drive my bus and that I am getting the results in my life based on, one, that I have a lot of choice of how I get I can get different results. That I also know that I'm very clear on my outcomes. So I think that NLP truly is really, if you would have a manual for how your mind works, and I don't just mean your brain, your mind works, when you have that, that gives you absolute responsibility. It gives you absolute behavioral flexibility in your life.
And choice.
Huge huge amount of choice. And I think this is what NLP is truly about. It's about giving an individual rather than being dependent on someone else to make the change. Because NLP is not a do-to process. I don't do anything to you. You do it. And in doing that, you realize that you truly do drive your own bus in the direction you want to go. And that is a very liberating, free feeling for people.
I guess from that as well is that you've got everything available to you. It's just where you decide to shine your light. It's where you decide to to place your focus. And like you mentioned, who to model, the strategies maybe they've got, and the results that you're actually wanting to get in that specific area.
Absolutely. So if you look at it in the most, and I'll make it the most simple I possibly can. You go to a restaurant and you have a meal there and you eat something that is just so fantastic and you're looking at this finished dish. But you're like, wow, how can I make this dish as that chef did? Now, you could go home and you could think, okay, what were the ingredients? And then you could kind of mix and match it, which many people do with their life. They kind of do a bit of this and a bit of that. But in the end, they kind of get, the dish doesn't taste the same, it doesn't look the same. They're like, well, that dish didn't work, and they throw the dish away. And then never to be done again. With NLP, it's like a recipe from the very beginning, from how to chop the onion, the right temperature, the attitude you need to have as you're preparing, the physiology you need to have as you're preparing, and it's all of these things, and of course the values, the belief systems, and all the strategies you need to be able to create that outcome. And the outcome can be the same, and more often it is even better than the original extraordinary dish.
How's that? It's actually a great way of looking at it, because it's like you mentioned, so many people are just going at it, having a go at life here, there and everywhere, doing all these little things and not looking at, well, how is someone getting the specific results that I'm looking to get, and what are the steps that they've actually taken to get there. They maybe just look at the results right at the end and go, I just want that, and then they don't even look at the process in between. I see so many people who was it, Tony Robbins, for example, and people can look at him and see that he's doing, let's say, 3,000-4,000 people at an event. He started at what was it, 3 people I think he had at his first event. So it's about getting back to right where the start. If you're wanting certain results that someone's got, and the recipe, for example, as well, the restaurant, going right back to the start, and then getting the steps that are needed, exact steps. That you can replicate that and then possibly even improve on that as well. And
you will improve it. Because that's human. That's also, this is all about evolution to another level. When I coached lots and lots of Olympic athletes, and one of the things that was really interesting is an athlete is very goal focused. They're not just going to go win a gold medal. They're not. That's actually not the outcome. For them, it's to get their personal best in their speed, in their time, in their lifting, in the game.
Absolutely.
So they're very specific on, okay, in order for me to be able to lift this weight, okay, I need to be eating this, I need to be sleeping so much, I need to be hydrating here, my thinking needs to be. So they're very aware of all the components that makes the difference. And it is the smallest things that make the greatest difference. So NLP really is a decoder. If we could say it's a decoder of how we do what we do. Not why we do what we do. We're not interested in the why. That's your motivation. We can find the motivation of the person who's going for the gold medal. And we can say, does that motivation work for me? And if it doesn't, you find the motivation that is your why. But that's not what NLP is about. In its essence is, how do I get the result? And that's the fantastic. I think NLP, if you could start with a child in primary school, and fortunately we have many of our students working with young kids now. And teaching a child how to truly learn. Because there's a strategy for learning. There's a strategy for spelling, for outstanding spelling. There's a strategy for retaining mathematics. And when a child loves to learn, they will be constant learners. And that means the brain is constantly growing. Versus a child who doesn't love to learn. Well, because they didn't learn to spell well. If you don't learn to spell well, then reading's a challenge. Then school becomes a challenge. It flows on. And then you have adults that, by the age of 32 to about 42, they've kind of given up. They're kind of, is this all there is? But if you have a hunger to learn, which means you have a hunger to grow and evolve, well, NLP shows you the how.
Nice.
So it doesn't matter whatever age you are. We have people in our trainings who are, in their 40s and 50s,
Yeah.
who learn to spell, really learn to spell for the first time, and it actually begins a new beginning for them.
Nice.
Because that never learning to spell was such shame for them,
Yeah.
and such
Yeah.
embarrassment. But they got through. But they couldn't rise to the levels they wanted to rise, because what if somebody found out? Yeah, so it can hinder the real potential of a human being.
Yeah.
And this is why we're here. We're here to grow to another level here. We're here to move to that next level. So NLP is a must. Yeah, we in our trainings, the youngest I've trained is a 14-year-old.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
and they were amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, because they're just open to it.
Yeah,
And of
yeah.
course, up to mid-70s, and so it's a wonderful gamut of age range, but incredible different professions that come in, and anyone from mothers, fathers, people who work within companies, CEOs, business leaders, and university students. So it really is a must. How do you do what you do, and how can you do it better?
Yeah. To get the results that you're actually after.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's my pleasure.
It's trust that's been of value to you in explaining kind of what NLP really is. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there that is giving you little bits of information here, there, everywhere. Trust that's been an overall value to you. Give us some comments below, and we'll see you on another video.
Thanks.